It's that time of year, the NBA local broadcast rankings from Awful Announcing, more than 11,000 respondents. We appreciate that very much. It's Brendan Clean and Ben Axelrod from the Play by Play podcast. Hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel if you have not before. We're going to break down the top 10 here, Ben, but we got to start with really just a time honored tradition. The number 30 spot on these rankings. People give, the respondents, our lovely readers, give an A to F ranking. They're allowed to chime in with little comments and thoughts once they vote. And at least for the second straight year, and I believe it's been multiple times total, the Golden State Warriors broadcast on NBC Sports Bay Area, rounding out the 30 teams here. Bob Fitzgerald, Kalena Azubuike, just the most homerific group that you could possibly find, and hilarious that it is for one of the best teams in the NBA, this dynasty, and I think it's why maybe they're so hated, because, some residual hate toward the Warriors might trickle over to them, but these guys are just really, really consistent, if nothing else, Ben.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because as we go through the list, like, there are some broadcast teams you would think are getting nixed on here just because of the teams that they're covering. And obviously I do think that's connected to the Warriors, but it's just funny to think of the contrast between this franchise that's been the epitome of being light years ahead. They have this beautiful new arena in San Francisco. I would imagine that their NBC Sports Bay Area deal is one of the richer ones in all of the NBA. And yet they lay claim to the number 30 spot year in and year out on this list. It's quite the contrast.
More than 36 or more than 35, almost 36% of people gave them an F. So really, really just unanimous hate. And, I'm not going to pretend like I'm locked into the Warriors. They're a division rival of my Phoenix Suns. So, most of the time I'm watching the number 28 group, which is the Phoenix Suns instead. So I can't really talk, but there they are. Let's go into our top 10, though. Let's get to the best of the best here. Again, more than 11,000 votes. And a wide range. The Sacramento Kings, though, right up north of the Golden State Warriors, also on NBC Sports, but this is the California Regional Sports Network. And that's Mark Jones, Katie Christensen, and Kyle Draper on rotation, considering Mark Jones, of course, is pretty busy at ESPN. But this one is just, it's going to be a running theme here, Ben. This is a national voice, and the local team just getting really, really lucky that their talent is just flat out better and more experienced than like most of the other teams on this list. I think Katie Christensen has done a really good job. Obviously cool to see a woman getting an opportunity like that. That's been a trend in the recent NBA history, I believe. She and one other are the only that made the top 10, so wanted to shout that out. But, for the Kings to get Mark Jones, doesn't really get much better than that.
Yeah, it's really stunning to me that Mark Jones still has time in his schedule for this job. And obviously that's happening less and less, but this isn't one of the NBA's glamour franchises either. It's not like it's, some of the other names on this list we'll get to toward the top who, it makes sense that they might want to stick around and still be a part of that team's legacy. But Mark Jones, I think carrying a lot of the praise here. One of my favorite comments was terrific without being loud, which is what I think you want when you're like me and you're out here on the East Coast chasing some Domantas Sabonis prop bets to end the night. And then he praised as top 3 national or local. Nobody better at telling stories of both the players on both teams. And then Katie Christensen also getting some praise with some of our readers thinking that she is worthy now of some national assignments. So this looks like an up and coming team here. And if they get a better product on the court, I would expect their approval rating to continue to rise.
Yeah, nothing like a 12:30 a.m. fish grease call from Mark Jones when the Kings are playing some, the Blazers for, the honor of finishing like 4th in the Pacific Division. That's really the sicko nature of this type of list. And look, again, it's nice when you get the national talent up there. But number 9, Ben, what do we got?
Number 9. So you mentioned the maybe the hate that the Warriors get and the reflection that might have on their broadcast. This is a team that I would have put in the same category, but they came in here at number 9, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers. It's Bill McDonald and Stu Lance. Their most common grade was a C. 28% of the votes was a C, but then overall, 78.5% of the votes a passing grade of an A, B, or C. This was one of our biggest risers. They came in at number 21 last season.
Yeah, this one confuses me. I can't. I like, we're at Awful Announcing. We write up when things go viral. We have at least a passing notice of kind of who's hot and whatever with these local on baseball and basketball, these booths. But I can't say this one breaks through much except for James Worthy in the studio, and he doesn't even count on this. So I don't know what would contribute to the huge rise from 21st with the score of 1.99 on average, all the way shooting up to where, almost 80% of people are giving them a passing grade, except for that I think Lakers fans are just feeling really good because you might have heard Luka Doncic is now on their team.
Yeah, I mean, that
has to be it.
I don't know what else would explain it. I don't, maybe like the JJ Redick pregame pressers, like that's like moving the needle here, and people are just getting a better look at the overall broadcast and presentation. But kind of split comments, like some accusing them of being homers, some saying that Lance is the most objective local announcer in the game. I think that maybe the homer comments are being reserved more for Bill McDonald, just diving into them. But yeah, really kind of like you read the comments, it feels like kind of a polarizing booth, but then you look at the overall ratings and close to 80% of our readers gave them a passing grade. So the numbers are what the numbers kind of are.
Got to shout out Joel Myers. I would have had no qualms about being in the top 10 back when he was still on the Lakers call. And I think if the Pelicans were better, that broadcast would be in our top 10 as well. But we will never know because the Pelicans suck every season. Number 8, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Michael Grady. This is the FanDuel Sports Network North, I believe, if I'm piecing together all the name changes that this has undergone. But the bottom line is that it's Michael Grady and Jim Peterson, who are fantastic. Michael Grady just got a very unique reported setup to call both NBA and WNBA games nationally for Amazon and NBC in the next package. After just 1 year doing national for ESPN, he obviously came up as kind of a pinch hitter at Yes Network, a riser in the industry. Jim Peterson, I love that he is an older, obviously, voice, but he's willing to talk about analytics. They integrate that stuff a lot. He knows his X's and O's. Like, you really feel like you're learning something. And best of all, the assistant coach segments with Micah Nori, who has become this odd character among NBA like diehards because he filled in when their coach ripped up his knee last year in the playoffs, but he also does these local little 2-3 minute things where he talks through some kind of play or scheme or something, Ben, and you can really barely understand what the hell he is talking about, but it's still really good content nevertheless. So you add all that up, 8 is easy here.
Yeah, I thought those Micah Nori segments were going to land him a head coaching job last year. Like that seemed to, he was kind of one of the buzzier names. I know the Timberwolves, obviously, when teams have success, that's usually how it plays out. But it seemed like those segments in particular really kind of moved the needle when it came to him. But yeah, you just look at the comments and the reaction from our readers. A lot of praise for Michael Grady. I think it's clear he's one of the up and comers. It seems like he's getting announced for a new play-by-play job with a new network every week now at this point, and obviously landed a couple of high-profile gigs within the last couple of weeks. Looking at the comments, both praise for Michael Grady and Jim Peterson, praise for their chemistry. I think our readers, we have pretty sharp readers. I think they recognize when they see a rising star, and that's clearly Michael Grady in this situation. Only one negative comment, and the negative comment was one of those call everyone by their first name teams. I haven't picked up on that. I don't know.
Also, what's the issue with that? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You know them.
Yeah, I don't like I don't think like they're calling like Suns games and just calling Kevin Durant Kevin, but like yeah, if LeBron's out there, you can just call him LeBron. Like you don't have to
Or
be
if you on the home team, it's like, well,
yeah.
they know they fly on planes with these guys all around the country all year. Like, of course they're gonna know him. What do you want him to be weird and only Mr. Edwards and Mr. Gobert? Like, come on.
Yeah,
That's
so
their
so
name.
I yeah, but that was the only one negative comment. And so I don't even know like if it technically qualifies as negative, although I think it was accompanied by a D grade. So clearly it was. But yeah, I think this is I think if anything, 8 seems a little low here, but
Yeah.
this is a team on the rise and they're gonna continue to be in high profile spots when it comes to the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards.
Yes, sir. Number 7.
Yeah, number 7, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. You got Chris Fisher, Michael Cage, and also Matt Pinto pinch hitting on play-by-play. Most common grade a C, 29.1% of the votes, but overall 80.7% of readers gave them a passing grade with an A, B, or C. Lots of praise. Chris Fisher does an exceptional job. Excellent team of men. And I like the way it's a very
Yeah, I like that comment. We noticed that when we were prepping. Just I don't know if the men was intentional. I don't typically acknowledge things like that. I just say that
yeah.
they're good, but so be it.
I'm choosing not to read into it. I think maybe he's just being a little casual when he says excellent team
Yeah.
of men, but it's 2025. You can never be too careful with these things. But yeah, this is a high profile team with a both the broadcast team and the team itself. Obviously, this broadcast gets a lot of attention with the post game interviews that they do as well, with the whole team joining the star of the night.
I think it's Nick Gallo, and that's the number one thing leading the way here. The towels on his head, the barking at the end of the little post game interviews with the whole team basically filing into the shot by the end of it. Like they're, they've always kind of had these teams that are like a collegiate atmosphere, and he really brings that home. So I couldn't have told you the names of, and this is not, an indictment, but Chris Fisher and Michael Cage, like those aren't even really names that I know. I know Nick Gallo's name. So I feel like that's a big part of this. Number 6, the Los Angeles Clippers on, it's funny, with a picture here is from back when it was still Fox Sports, which it tells you how long and how many times all this nonsense has changed. I believe it's another FanDuel. Brian Seaman, Jim Jackson, Mike Fratello. This is, I really think, driven, Ben. 38% of people gave this group a B, and really once you get into this top 6, it's like heavy hitters all the way down. 90% basically of the folks who voted gave this group a passing grade. Like it almost really universal praise here. And I think that really is just because Los Angeles is an awesome place to live. You can get Jim Jackson, who calls games for TNT and CBS, college and NBA nationally, and Mike Fratello, who's a living legend. I think that is a real tribute to Southern California being beautiful, more so than anything else.
Yeah, no, I think,
but
yeah, no, I think that checks out. I think something funny about this team is Jim Jackson played for like 12 teams during his NBA career. He played for the Mavericks, the Nets, the Sixers, the Warriors, the Blazers, the Hawks, the Cavs, the Heat, the Kings, the Rockets, the Suns, and the Lakers. He never played for the Clippers, so he's not a former Clippers player. But hey, like you got Jim Jackson, you got a national voice. Why you're not going to say no to that? So it's a coup for them to get Jim Jackson, a coup for them to get Mike Fratello, who, could be leading serving as the top analyst on his own broadcast, given his credentials, the czar. So, I mean, I think that this, what they come in at number 6 here, that I think that's fairly accurate for how I would view this team in the big picture here.
Mike Fratello, who also I believe has no association with the Los Angeles Clippers of any kind. So yes, I think when we were prepping yesterday, I called the number 5 team that they wish they were calling the Thunder games, and I think that's apt here.
Yeah, that would be the Charlotte Hornets with Eric Collins, and Del Curry. 32.8% of the votes in A. So their top vote overall was an A, 83.7, a passing grade of an A, B, or C. I think a lot of love for Del Curry here. Obviously a franchise legend and somebody who is still connected to the basketball community through his sons, Steph and what's Steph's brother's
Seth.
name on the Seth. Steph and Seth.
Very close.
That's,
yes.
Yeah. So that's he's calling his son's games. You can't beat that.
I think Garrett Collins going viral like every other day is a huge part of this too. He is an absolute maniac when there is any sort of big play. And look, this comment I think embodies it. They can make lemonade out of moldy lemons. Like the fact that Eric Collins is even anybody that anyone even knows who he is or that he's ever had a call go viral for probably the worst franchise in the entirety of the NBA, all things considered. I believe they have like 2 playoff wins, series wins in their history, is pretty impressive. So he does absolutely everything to wring a good product out of this atrocious franchise. Number 4, the Portland Trail Blazers. One of my personal favorites for sure. They went out on their own this year on the, it's like something city network. It was used to be
Rip City
Sports.
Yeah,
Rip City probably. That would be the thing because that is the nickname for Portland. And it's Kevin Calabro and it's Lamar Hurd. It's also Tom Haberstroh, who people would know from ESPN. He beams in from his bedroom or office or whatever out in North Carolina in the middle of the night over there for these late West Coast games, and he does, little analytics breakdowns and things that he's known for. That's a nice touch. Lamar Hurd, I think, is absolutely ready for a national call-up, in my opinion, at some point, and Calabro is just a steady hand. They have good chemistry. And another one where the number 4 team for a pretty bad Blazers squad, at least since kind of the Lillard teams broke up, like that says something.
Yeah, I think you're kind of noticing a trend here when it comes to the top 10. I think our readers reward degree of difficulty. That's pretty heavily weighted, and that has certainly been reflected in the last few rankings here. But yeah, just looking at the comments, Calabro getting a lot of praise. Big time play-by-play, remains one of the game's best, a legend, and just continues to be one of the best in the business. And Hurd also getting praise as well as a fantastic color analyst. So I think this is a savvy pick from our readers, and we'll continue this trend with number 3 with the degree of difficulty. That would be the Chicago Bulls, Adam Amin and Stacey King. Adam Amin obviously getting national broadcasts also by way of Major League Baseball, but they got 43.2% of their votes in A and 89.6% of their votes a passing grade of an A, B, or C. So as you would expect, number 3, this is one of our most beloved broadcast teams here.
I believe Adam Amin almost worked backward and had national jobs before he came back to the local. Like he is probably overqualified, but that's the cool thing about basketball and baseball is you get like really good broadcasters on local stuff just because the games can't call themselves until AI takes over, I guess. But Stacey King, I got to say, like if you've ever covered an NBA game or even just gotten to sit really close and happened to see the press row broadcast setup, there's nothing better in this entire list than Stacey King's bag of candy. It is 3 times big. It's not a like, I don't even know, like a snack size. It's a quart size, I'm pretty sure. It might be gallon. I don't know about the, I didn't measure, but it's a monster, and it is a perfect embodiment of that he is very one of a kind in this world, and a longtime analyst down there that's up there that's beloved.
Yeah, that's all bets are off when you're covering games. That's like no rules apply to the diet. Like that's just a get through the night kind of thing. So definitely appreciate the big candy bag.
All right, number 2, the Brooklyn Nets. This is ridiculous. It is Ian Eagle. It is Sarah Kustok. It is Noah Eagle, Ryan Rocco as backups. Those 2 are the backups here on this broadcast. Richard Jefferson and Vince Carter on analysis. Although I didn't know Richard Jefferson was still calling games. We might be giving Richard Jefferson, like he might have popped up once and he's getting the prestigious honor of number 2 here. I know that this is really what matters to him, but he should not get the shine. This is this is really Sarah Kustok, to be honest with you. And she's even also a national voice, calling national college, women's college for Fox, and I believe might have potentially been with Unrivaled this year. So it's just somebody's calling the finals, somebody's calling the WNBA finals. It's Ian Eagle who calls the final. This is ridiculous. This is the most star-studded, and like you said, it also gets the degree of difficulty, Ben, because the Nets suck. So
Yeah.
this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we've got to get Giannis to Brooklyn just so that this team like can be worthy of this broadcast team, because this is like this could be the top team for Amazon. This could be the top team for ESPN. This could be the top team for NBC. Like, this is a national from top to bottom. This is a national broadcast team calling like the 27th most relevant NBA team calling their game. So yeah, I don't know if Richard Jefferson just put his name on the class project here and turned it in, but
Feels that
yeah,
way.
I mean, yeah, this is I mean, all the comments as you would expect, just nothing but praise. This is,
65% of people gave this one an A. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to have ever watched a Nets game. You just see the names and you're like, yeah, A. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that's if this isn't, one of the top teams in the NBA, then like, what are we doing? Like that, then everybody's wrong. So yeah, I mean, this makes sense. And that only leaves us at number one, and that would be their crosstown rivals, the New York Knicks. I don't know if it's much of a rivalry, but they're at least close in proximity, both in terms of location and announcer rankings. So we've got the New York Knicks with Mike Breen, Walt Frazier, also Kenny Albert and Tyler Murray on play-by-play, and Jamal Crawford, Alan Hahn, and Wally Zerbiak on analysis. A from 70.2% of our readers, 94.2% a passing grade of an A, B, or C. And once again, just another national caliber broadcast here, just hanging out with one of the local teams.
And a shout out to Breen and Frazier for using their longevity. I mean, they've been doing this for like 30 years together. Calling out the league a little bit. Nothing that can be done now, but the national broadcast taking over the first round of the playoffs exclusively, and you can't even choose to watch on your local network if you want to anymore. And that means Walt Frazier this past spring called his last NBA playoff game ever. So again, they're not going to change the world here, but I like that they threw a little shot at the league, because that does suck. That's why we're doing this list, is because people like their local broadcasters, and that whole thing is just gone because the league was a little greedy. So
yeah, and that's the cachet that this broadcast team carries. That's the cachet that the Knicks overall presentation on MSG carries. And yeah, again, just it's almost like, I mean, Wally Zerbiak is a national college basketball analyst, and it's kind of like, does Wally Zerbiak belong like in this group? Like, this is the Knicks just have so many legends and guys
Jamal
that they honor on a
Crawford
consistent basis. Yeah.
biding his time between a prominent TNT role and the prominent NBC role, just kind of, all right, I'll just call like 4 Knicks games this year. That'll be a nice little way to pass the time. And yeah, finally the Knicks rewarding this great group with an awesome team that it might, I mean, heck, by the time some people are watching this, maybe they'll be in the finals. Thank you, everybody, for your votes. Thank you, everybody, for your eyeballs here watching. Again, like, subscribe. We put content out like this regularly. We have 2 podcasts on this feed and a bunch of other video content. We're also at awfulannouncing.com. Check us out there, and we will see you soon.